Welcome back to my channel, guys. So we're back working on the 6-wheel drive Land Cruiser. I am taking the diesel turbo 1HDT engine out of it because I have sold this engine and brought a new one. I'll reveal and show you all about this engine at the end of the video. You don't want to miss it. Sit back and enjoy.
Hey Dan, 10 o'clock tonight. Why? Why tonight? Why remove your motor tonight? Have you not got better things to do?
I sold it on Sunday. For Sunday. And I don't know how long it's going to take to get out. Is my bar lining up with the bull bar? Or is it truck too high?
Yeah, for the viewers, just hit it hard.
Nah, like, I'm not worried about the bumper because I'm building a new bumper, but is it going to hit the front of the van, like headlight area?
Yes it is.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, driving the van to push it back in the workshop, why didn't that work?
I've done it before, but on those rollers it lifts it like that much. So then the van bumper goes underneath this bumper. So I pulled the rollers out and the back is still on rollers, but it'll be fine now. It should roll back, hopefully. We'll see.
Yeah, keep going. Your funeral. Keep going. It will hit the bumper this time, yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a good nudge.
Keep forgetting it, this van has no ball, okay?
Yeah, that's it. Alright.
Does that look like enough?
You're taking apart something. What's going on here?
Yeah, I'm going to take the whole bull bar off in one go because once you get the bull bar off, take like headlights and grill out, because these bolts here, so there's one there, and there's one there and one there, which allows this whole front to come off. So then I can sort of pull the engine out the front and out, so the gearbox all in one go, which is going to be so much easier. And the Toyotas make it like this. I know a lot of people cut these on some cars to pull the engines out, but with these you don't have to because they just unbolt. I think that's it. Now I gotta find something. I think I'll put this upstairs. We'll do it. And take all the headlights out. I'll get an extension. Actually, this should.
How many bolts?
Just 4, I think. That one's tight. Okay. Yeah, now we'll take the radiator out. So take this off, but I think I need to empty the radiator because the radiator and the engine's gonna have water in it. So I think that should be the next thing I do. Then I don't make a massive mess.
Where's the bung for the radiator?
I don't know. I'm trying to find it. I have done it before, but it's been a long time. But look what else I found.
What's this?
Get to it. It was jammed between my fan shroud and the thing. So it's probably a good thing I didn't try and start it like that. I don't know if you can see it, but the bung is way up there. So like there.
Yeah, just done the hard jobs. Why are we taking this perfectly good engine out of the 80 series Land Cruiser?
Because like I said before, I've sold this engine because I'm going to do an engine swap on it. Basically, everyone in my comments has always asked me what engine am I putting in it, and I kind of wanted to keep this engine like compounded and just try and push this engine to the limits. which would be very unreliable, not super powerful, and I don't know, I kind of realised that it's kind of silly going that way. I just didn't want to have to engine swap it, but now I am. And I'm putting something way bigger in it. It's going to be petrol.
And why the tool of choice?
It's a wood saw. But basically, this clamp is not coming off. It's just breaking. I don't know if you can see it down in there. Can you see that? How it's just twisted around. Can you see that? How it's just keep twisting the steel around?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm just going to cut it off because these radiator hoses, I'm definitely not using again. So undo this. I'm pretty sure these 4 bolts are what holds the fan on. I think. We'll find out soon anyway.
Out it comes.
Here or there. That's what I was talking about. See how that's like just wires and it just started twisting up? Because I was trying to undo this.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But it just wasn't working. Look at it. It's not meant to do that. If I was to replace it, I'd use something like this, but obviously a lot smaller.
Gotcha. What's going on here now?
So I'm taking this off, and anything like this that the bolt can go back on, I always put the bolt back on.
Yeah.
So you know, so you're not looking for it. And it's not going missing. Basically, I'm just searching the engine, like there's an earth there, so obviously I want to get rid of that, but I might. I've already undone that. I've already undone the earth anyway, because it's over here, which is the battery. So that is fine. That is also off. That's an accelerator cable. So that's off. This is an oil feed for the turbo, which is also off, but I might take that off because I'll keep that. That won't go with the engine. That's disconnected. This hose clamp is also a very hard hose clamp, and I've just bent all those things, like those there, when you squeeze them, they don't do anything. And we got the wood saw out again. So basically, the person who's buying my engine is just replacing their engine. So they've got all these hoses, and I'm going to have to get new hoses anyway, because the engine that I'm getting, the heater hose will not be in this location. It'll be somewhere else. So I'll just cut it like here. This is what wreckers do when they pull cars apart, because it's the easy way to do it. Well, I think they use power tools, but as you can see, wood saws cut through it like butter. The end.
Yeah.
Got dust falling on me. Yeah, so the engine's obviously there, and the drive shaft's there. Like, there's a few. This is speedo cables, so this will need to come off too. I might do some of this stuff first, the obvious things, before I take it off. This drive shaft is pretty much not there anyway. I need to take this front drive shaft off, and oh, that's part. Nah, yeah. And then we'll separate the engine from the gearbox when it's on the floor. I think it's going to be easier because it's going to be a lot easier to access.
Gotcha.
Nah, I don't think there's any. No, I didn't think there'd be oil in there. But see that little gear?
Yeah.
That's what tells, so that spins, and that's what tells the speedo.
No
Fast
shit.
you are. Yeah. See, up in here, there's like a gear selector, because this is an automatic box. That's like how it moves.
Yeah.
So that selects through the gears. So I'm just going to disconnect that from the selector, which is obviously inside the car, to the gearbox. So I've taken these nuts off. One was down on this side, and then this side, one was down here, which you can see. So that has the stud, so it's not, the engine's not going to fall. I'm going to get underneath it, and I'm going to jack up the gearbox, put some weight on the gearbox, and then take the cross member out. Okay, so I put the axle stand under this part,
it's tight, so I lifted the back of the axle slightly, put it under so it's under a tiny bit of pressure to take pretty much all the weight off this cross member. Undo these bolts here, so there are 17. Okay, so basically this is off. It bolted to here and here, and then there, and then there. So this is basically only held on, well, held in place by this axle stand, and then the two engine mounts there, which we've already unbolted, but it's got pins, so it's not going to fall out. Because I'm just noticing, I can't remember why, but it's meant to have an engine hook here, and I removed it for some reason. I think it's because of the turbo. Don't know what I did with it, but I'll probably just make my own sort of engine mount plate to lift it out from there. And this is what I come up with. Nothing fancy, but it's going to do the job. So I put a strop onto the hook I made. I put another strop to the other side, and then sort of balanced the engine out, and then one to the back of the engine. And basically lift this out until my camera decided to die. But this is sped up times 8 speed, so it's almost a time lapse at this stage. But this took a little while, just trying to get it out of the gearbox and everything in one piece. It wasn't easy. And now that the engine's out, it's down on the ground, I can start pulling it apart, pulling things off it that won't go off the engine, pull the back of the gearbox off, because I've sold them to different people, and just a lot of things like that. I didn't realize how many plugs, because it's auto, went from the engine to the gearbox, had rods from the engine to the gearbox, had all sorts of things all over this engine, so I just had to separate everything.
Okay, just before I separate this engine, I want to show you what I've been doing. So these lines here are the coolant for, because this is an automatic transmission, so these are coolant lines. They go around, they bolt to a clamp there, they bolt, I only just took it off, but I can't remember, oh there, and then down there. So now this is sort of, you know, all loose, and these are linked together at the front here. I think I'm just going to leave that line on, because if I pull them off, I'll have to empty the gearbox of oil, where I may do anyway, we'll see. You probably noticed that, that's just a Sharpie jammed into the, I think it's the power steering, yeah, it's the power steering motor thing, power steering pump thing. I couldn't find a bolt the right size, Sharpie fit perfect, so that's what it's got. So I just got to drag this gearbox back now, because as you can see, it's basically like this is all apart. But as you can see, this is now apart. These are two very heavy components. The gearbox is very heavy. The motor is very heavy. So separating them was fairly difficult, but I used a jack at the front, sort of leveled everything out, and then just dragged the gearbox back. Sounds easier, but trust me, it wasn't. Alright, so both engine and gearbox is now separated. I should not be holding the camera with these hands, but it is what it is. I just spilled some oil, which I'm mopping up.
You probably notice I'm using one of my DC Customs merchandise hoodies. This become a rag because it's one of the hoodies that it kind of, when it got printed and folded, it messed up a wee bit and it wasn't great. I'll fix this issue now, but at the beginning a few of these hoodies were lifting, and now the design is a straight line rather than a cross. But these customers got sent out brand new ones. Some of them sent them back, which they didn't need to, and this is one of them. If you want a good pair of these hoodies to wear and not use as a rag, they're on the DC Customs and Fabrication website.
Because we're leaking quite a bit of transmission fluid, and we're also leaking quite a bit of engine oil. I probably should have drained it before I pulled them out, but I thought I didn't need to, but I probably should have.
Now the part you've been waiting for, the engine reveal. This is a 5-litre V12 engine. It's a 1GZ FE.
Which means it has 6 exhaust outlets both sides. This thing is a V12. Some people like to compare it to 2 1JZs, and I've been told by a lot of people that they have 1JZ rods and pistons. I'm not too sure how true that is, and I think it's going to be the perfect motor for my 6-wheel drive Land Cruiser. And this isn't only going to stay naturally aspirated. I want 2 turbos each side. I have thought about going quad turbo because, as you can see, there's 3 exhaust runners there together, 3 exhaust runners there together. 1 JZ's, 2 JZ Supra, they have twin turbos. I don't know if it's going to be much benefit over just 2 turbos, but it's definitely going to be more of a wow factor. Another very cool thing about this engine, I'm not sure if I'm going to use though, but the fan is actually oil controlled. So it's got this, which goes into the power steering, and then it's got this, which I think connects up to here. This intake looks quite cool, but I think I'm going to modify it. So like put sort of pipes like this, kind of like this. So I don't know about the turbo setup, but I want to try and make them equal length nonetheless. Stainless steel exhaust manifolds into the stainless exhaust pipes, and we're keeping the stacks. Now the radiator, I'm going to use the factory 80 series radiator. I might swap it out for an aluminium radiator made for an 80 series, but they're basically exactly the same size. They're exactly the same height, although the Land Cruiser one is a lot thicker than the Toyota Century one. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the thickness is about twice. The Land Cruiser is also steel, the Century is actually alloy. But the best part about this is this outlet or inlet, I don't know which way around it is, but anyway, this here is basically in the same location as this, and the top is basically in the same location as this. So this hose here, I've actually switched it around because I did fit the radiator up to the front of this, but the hose from factory goes like that. So mine just needs to go out a bit more, and then this hose here, which the engine didn't come with, this goes down and then to the bottom. I'm sure I can buy one of them or make one out of stainless and just put it on, and that'll line up to the bottom of the radiator. There's not massive modifications there. That's going to be very, very simple. This fan I think I'm going to use. I personally think it might be better than electric, and it can cool this motor because it's designed for it, so I should probably stick with it. This fan I've had sitting on this radiator, very small modifications, just line up bolts and it's going to fit. The engine, fitting wise, it's a very, very short engine, which is going to benefit me so much. I just want to show you guys, this is my Land Cruiser turbo manifold that come off the 1HDT, and if I hold that up to the engine, as you can see, that last runner is way out there, and that first runner is now in line with the front, which tells me the Land Cruiser 1HDT block was a hell of a lot longer than this engine, which means trying to fit it into the engine bay is going to be very, very easy. I'll be able to put this back quite a bit, or maybe forward, I'm not sure yet. Once I get the gearbox, I'm going to figure it out, because I may want to do an X pipe behind the engine to get this V12 sound out of it, or maybe in front of the engine. I'm not sure yet. I've seen people do both ways, but apparently if you get these 2 banks of exhaust equal length crossover as soon as possible, you get that true V12 Ferrari sort of F1 sound out of them. If someone knows more about this, please let me know in the comments. And now on to the gearbox. So the gearbox is a 30-42 LE. I believe they're very, very close. These usually come in onesies. These gearboxes usually come in the 1UZ all the way to 3UZ, but this is a little bit stronger. But I'm not using it. I'm going to put a 79 series gearbox, which is an H151 manual gearbox behind this, very similar to what the 80 series come with when the 80 series was manual, but just a wee bit newer, and you can buy them brand new, and it's just a better gearbox overall. We'll need to do some custom bell housings, but I have seen it done before, so I'm not too worried. Alright guys, so now I want to show you what else I've got that come with the engine. So this box here is full of...
So this engine is out of the Toyota Century. This was to go head to head with the Rolls-Royce of its time, and very, very ahead of its time. This is the only V12 to ever come out of Japan still to this day. The interior was fitted out for phone and everything like that, because people that drove in these cars were presidents. You could put your feet through the passengers to lie back, All the dash was made out of Yamaha piano wood, and it had pretty much everything you think of in the day, and I've got all this stuff.
Sort of electrical. So you've got the blacked out dashboard. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that. I may use a standalone ECU. I think I probably will. And you can get digital screens now as a cluster. I think I'll go with that instead. This is, I'm guessing, the engine ECU because it says 1GZFE on it. So that's, yeah, engine control. And I do think, from reading online, there's two of these because they use one for each bank. Actually, I lie. There's two bolted together there. So one is for one side and one is for the other side. Which is a strange setup, but they basically run them as two independent engines per bank. I've got this infotainment screen. I've got radio, climate control. These were quite flash back in their day because they had independent climate control. These things were basically Toyota's version of Rolls-Royce, remember? I've got this, which I may use, I'm not sure, because it has got a few little more options than what the 80 series did, if it fits up. A lot of this stuff I don't need at all, but it's just from the car. Like, this is a CD stacker, random plastics from the interior, the shifter thing. And now this box here, this is an overflowing box of wiring. As you can imagine, this car had all the interior luxuries, from heated seats, electric pretty much everything, and that's what's in this box. So this box, I'm probably not going to use any of it. I may use some plugs, I don't know. But if I go standalone, I won't really use any of this. And then we've got the engine cover. I'm not going to use this either because I want to make the engine look pretty and show it off. And the last box pretty much is just air boxes, which they came with two per side. So air boxes, air cleaners, two per side. The top of the intake, which I don't think I'm going to use this either because I want to go turbo. A separate tank for the radiator, which is another reason I want to use the 80 series radiator, because this tank had the filler on it and it went on the side of the radiator right at the front, which isn't going to work on the Land Cruiser. And then there's just heaps of other little things in this box. So maybe not the next episode. Next episode will probably be this van. It gets a bull bar, which I'm actually making right now. That's one will be a bit dusty. And we'll be able to see it in the car, how it's going to fit. But anyway, guys, I've got a lot of work to do. We're going through it a lot quicker now because I'm basically doing this stuff full-time YouTuber. And if you want to support me and that decision, please subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and we will see you on the next one.